flip. You understand what I'm saying? So with that, do what y'all do. Either sit on your hands or share some shit. Some of these motherfuckers gonna do it. Some of them ain't. But this the secret out. This the code. This the blueprint. If y'all want out sooner than later. Otherwise, y'all gotta let it play out on what they call galactic time, which is slow as fuck. Or else this shit would have been done 1,000 years ago. This slow as fuck. Galactic time slow as hell. But the human can change the condition by agreement. And the agreement is in each one teach one. And if you ain't willing to do that, you in your way and you in everybody else's, and you need to kill yourself. It's gonna happen anyway. Just get the fuck out the way. It's oxygen being breathed, real motherfuckers could be breathing. That's gonna take care of some shit. And with that, I'm gonna wish y'all the best. I'm gonna tell y'all keep your eyes on the prize. And watch this motherfucking shit manifest in front of your motherfucking eyes. Keep y'all head up. Don't let nobody tell you you fucking crazy. Remember, the whole trick is you. First person perspective. Then, look at it from somebody else's point of view. Move yourself around. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh person. Look at it from all of their perspectives. What are they seeing? It's a knock around game. You got to be able to knock around in order to see what's going down. But now it ain't about what's going down. It's about what's coming up, because the seed been planted and the fruit been germinated. This is the harvest. So they wanted to know, when will there be a harvest for the world? It's taking place now. All these motherfuckers that's getting tossed off, that's what you call food for the gods, the Anunaki gods. Those who came. They taking that shit that we don't need with them when they leave. So it's up to y'all. Do what y'all do. Peace out and keep your head up. Restore the matriarchy and save the children.
Right. Oh my God. I can't believe I finally got in. What's going on?
How you doing? Tell us your name, where you calling from for the people to know.
Oh, I'm from Newark. I'm straight from Newark, New Jersey. Home to
it's the side of Shakur. It's the side of Shakur knot. Come on.
Side of Shakur.
I want you to talk about something. Go and drop it on us. I'm listening.
Nah, what you was just talking about, man. I've been getting so many downloads about this media shit, man, and people just I don't know if we need to. I know that people really understand it, but like we talking about on the mass level, social media cleanse. We really got to cleanse from social. We got to cleanse our chakra, our heart chakra, for real, because the media got us scared, and even just reading, just going on, and it dawned on me, like, you know, we got the freedom of press. But the freedom of press is completely different from media. So I don't know if you want to talk about that and break it down, because
mainstream media is a government controlled entity. They get their information from only two places. One is called the Associated Press and one is called Reuters. Both of them was established by CIA assets.
Yep. William Cole. Go ahead.
So they're going to continuously use mainstream media as a disinformation campaign and a propaganda tool until the people realize what's being done. All we got to do is just stop all movement.
Yep.
Just stop all movements. Don't buy their gas. Don't do nothing. Stop. But we ain't going to do that because everybody worried about the almighty dollar, and that's what they was banking on, the love of money. Poverty make a motherfucker thirsty. Like abstinence makes some of them chicks at the club act funny. Too much abstinence, and she trying to leave with the first motherfucker on that she can get on his iron.
Right.
Right. So for all that poverty, the abstinence from wealth and substance. Nobody over here was ever poor till these motherfuckers came.
Right.
We didn't even have a poverty line. That didn't even exist in our reality. Now we talking about homeless people. Ain't no such thing as homeless people. Everybody, if you ain't got nowhere, go to Big Mama house. She gonna take you in and she gonna put you up.
Facts.
Everybody know what that means. Big Mama gonna take you in. She'll put you up.
She got space. She gonna make space.
She gonna make room.
Yes, room.
What Big Mama's gonna say? Oh, well, come on, baby. We gonna make do.
Yep. We're gonna make do.
Some of the babies might have to eat off the same plate, but I promise you it'll be enough for them all to be full.
Yep. Sleeping head to foot, you know, in the same bed, on the floor, whatever. And that's just how it go, right?
Now they got us so selfish and we so traumatized from the ones that look like us busting us upside our head that we don't even trust each other no more.
You can't. That shit is wild.
It's when we trusted them motherfuckers, they raped our babies. And they still doing it. And never stopped.
Never stopped. Can you talk about, right? Because I was reading Nicomachean Ethics, and it's funny because I read this book in college, and I didn't.
Let me see the cover of that. I don't know if I read that one.
Nicomachean Ethics. It's written by Aristotle, one of Socrates' students. You know, Plato.
Yeah, I know who Aristotle is. I don't think I read that particular book though.
Okay, so this I think you might find it interesting. I was just reading it just because I picked it up 2 years ago. I was in Atlantic City and they had a bookstore and the bookstore was outside, and I was like, they just got books outside. And then when I went in, he was like, yeah, we go by the honor system because ain't nobody stealing books. I was like, yeah, that's a fact. Ain't nobody stealing no books. So, you know, I just picked it up, but then I got back into reading it, you know, getting some downloads or whatever, and somebody told me to read it. So I was reading through it, and it's really crazy because when we learned about Greek, like the Greco-Roman and all of the shit, we learned that our society, Western culture, was mimicked off of that. And I get into reading about Socrates, and we don't talk about his trial. And Socrates was a nigga. He was over there and created this ideology that people couldn't govern themselves, right? And because he had this ideology and all his students, he never, it reminded me of what you was talking about with what's that, Helter Skelter, what's his name? Charles Manson, where Charles Manson wasn't necessarily the person to say it or tell these people that they should, you know, take over or whatever, but that's what ended up happening. And Socrates got put on trial. So I don't know if you've ever read like some books from Plato about the trial of Socrates, but they basically was saying that he promoted his students to cause an uproar and seize the entire Athens, Greece, and overturn their system. And what ended up happening was on his trial, the people was saying like, you know, you can't do this, but they blamed him. They charged him with impiety, not believing in the gods and disrespecting the gods. It wasn't because, and people tried to say that it was because he was corrupting the minds of the youth and telling them that they needed to govern the masses because the masses can't think for themselves. And it was funny because they also said that Socrates, like his wife, he had a wife and kids, and none of them showed up, right? None of them showed up to his trial. And later in the books, it was saying that his wife was upset because Socrates was often found playing with little boys, and he was having sex with little boys that was in his group, and they fuck with him. So it was wild to me. I'm like, yo, why? How the fuck did we, like, I've heard this shit, it registered me. These are the same people that took this culture from over here and put this shit over here. And it's the same shit that they've been doing. The shit is wild. This is why
the boy lover culture, or they called it, that's Roman.
Right.
Let's get into Rome. Since we busting these motherfuckers in the Badussi, let's bust them. Rome Okay, so the Romans, remember I was talking about the Ottoman Empire merging with the Roman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Rome was established by Etruscan Moors.
Mm-hmm.
They got kicked out of the same place they got sent back to. That's why they couldn't go there before. That's why they came here. Now, if you remember, straight across the Pillars of Hercules from Northwest Africa is Spain.
Right.
You can literally stand in Spain and see Northern Africa.
See Northern Africa, facts.
And vice versa. All right, now, they got kicked out of Africa for violating the laws and the rules of Mother Earth. For causing mischief and bloodshed everywhere they went in Africa, and they was not from anywhere in Africa, right? And no place was their home. They were nomadic people. This is why Yahweh promised them a homeland, right? We gonna give you the promised land. We're the land of the promise. Bullshit, because Starf ain't buying that shit, but we gonna go ahead with that story. Now, Abraham's children is promised this by Yahweh in the so-called biblical story. Where in the fuck did this story come from? When you trace the story back, the Promised Land story go all the way back to Sumer and what's called the Anunaki Wars. Where Sumer, S-U-M-E-R, the Sumerian Empire. And when you read about the Anunnaki Wars, you see that it was first settled by ENLIL, and then because he lost the fight to Anu for the seat, what they call the highest seat, which is the Galactic Council male god highest seat. Right? The only seats higher than that is female, all female.
Right. That was when you was talking about he challenged it. It was like a son challenging the father. Got you.
Right.
Okay.
They was twins. They was twin brothers.
Well, yeah, you gave that example though. It was like somebody challenged.
Right. So anyway, Anu beat his ass. Eliu got ousted, and then he went to the furthest reaches of space in search of somewhere to call home. He came to Earth, and he still telepathically linked to Nibiru and the Anunnaki. He now know that they searching for something, that the presence of the people from Earth being here, a side effect produces it called gold. Just as being here, that's why they call us the golden ones.
Thanks.
Right? Now, telepathically, he let them know, hey, if I can be forgiven for challenging Anu for the throne, right? I can give y'all as much gold as y'all need to repair the infrastructure on Nibiru.
This is ENLIL talking.
Nope, this Eliu.
This Eliu talking. Okay.
All right. Now, this is Anu's twin brother. This who Anu ousted for power on Nibiru.
Okay.
Right? So he's trying to offer up a peace offering. This is how they even come here. When he offer up the peace offering, Anu get clearance from the Galactic Council, but it was one problem. The rules here was different. This wasn't a restricted will universe.
Free will, right? Okay.
Right. And so they had to let them know before they came here, you can't do nothing to them unless you make known to them anything that you do. Everything is recorded. It's in our face on a regular basis because they following the rules, but we ain't.
Okay, got you. It's in our face on a regular basis. That's what they're supposed to do because they playing by the game or playing by that rule because it's a free will.
But we ain't playing by the rules because as a person with free will, you are supposed to always test to see if Is this in agreement with who you are as a person? Whether it's me or anybody else talking, that's why you don't take sides.
Right.
Right? Soon as you start taking sides, you forgot how to be a god. So they
Right.
got you in a series of loops of side taking all the way through your waking up. Right? And as long as you're taking sides, you will never get your God powers back because you don't know who you are. Right? So stop taking sides. Take sides with your inner self, your higher self.
Right.
Check out the receipts to see if they valid.
Right.
Right? If you see in the receipts that the receipts is valid, follow that narrative until you find new information that can take you to a higher level to see the problem even higher.
Right. 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 And that's why I'm telling everybody that I know, you have to do a cleanse. You have to, even if you gotta get on your social media, because it's hard for some people. They wake up, the first thing they grab is their phone. Even if you have to, don't comment on nothing, don't like nothing, don't nothing. If you gotta look for information, okay, but and I'm gonna do a whole live. I'm trying to, just get back out there, whatever, with my shit. But I feel you. This is taking sides is pointless, because once you understand that it's duality, you can pull from anywhere, you can get information from anything, but it really comes from what you are resonating with. You know what I mean?
Right. So when you get the information and you stop taking sides, it starts patching you in like an operator on the old school switchboard into the Akashic records. Because if you don't believe none of the shit a motherfucker tell you, you got to go find it for your own satisfaction. Your higher self gonna bring you the right answer.
The right answers, right? That shit just gonna be.
It can only. That's why they say you can't lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody else, but you can't lie to yourself. Why they tell you that? Because they have to. That have to be common knowledge that you can't lie to yourself. Why? Because if at any point you ever wake up to the realization that your higher self can go find the answer, you send your higher self for the answer, it can only bring you the right answer because that's the rules of the universe. You can't lie to yourself. That's one of the biggest rules. Why is that there? Because deception is a viable form of warfare. It's absolutely part of the eternal war catalog in all the Akashic records through different creations. That's always been there. That's why our greatest war philosophers has to tell us that warfare entails great deception. So what's the best way to keep the conquered conquered? Never let them know that they was conquered.
Never let them know that they was conquered.
Always make them believe they somebody else. Right? And if they ask questions, tell them the truth, but tell them 10 lies to cover it. Winston Churchill said the truth is so valuable it must be carefully guarded by a ring of lies.
By a ring of lies. Have you ever heard of William Lutz? And he wrote a double speak. Can you talk about that? I found that that was another download that just popped up out of the clear blue sky for me.
You talking about double speak?
Double speak, yeah.
That's when, so a word in English is created as a language of deception. The original English language only had about 300 words in it. And it was written by the Pygmy peoples of Africa, and they went to go teach the so-called Irish, English, and the Scottish the language. That's where they get the language from.
Got you. Okay.
So, right. So this is why they say when you do a linguistic study, all the languages trace back to Africa.
Right.
Greek, the language of Greek was written to establish the first university on the Isle of Crete for the Greece Empire. Greece was Hellenistic, meaning matriarchal at this time. When they say Hellenistic, because the goddess Helen was the matriarch of the empire. Right? So when the Romans conquered them, they put Greco in front of Roman to give the Greeks the impression that they had won the war against the Romans and that they had usurped the Roman Empire.
Right.
But it was actually the other way around.
Right, exactly.
Right, because they switched out the goddess Helen and gave the name Helen to a man in Rome, in the Pantheon.
Right.
Okay, so that's called replacing the gods or defacing the gods.
Defacing the gods, which is what, yes. Go ahead.
All right, now, this is the story of Medusa getting her head chopped off. Medusa not a name. Most of us don't know it's a title of a priestess. Medu is 10. Sa is a birth priestess, and that's coming from right from Egypt. All right. So if the Sa priestess at the 10th rank, right, that's the equivalent of us saying number 1. Because